language.
That's
Hello and welcome back to the Way to Native Chronicles. I have an interesting video for you today. We're out here at not at a shooting range, but have a place to shoot, and going to test to see what kind of bullets get through the bush better than others. This is a subject of continuing controversy in the shooting world and among hunters. It helps determine what kind of cartridge, what kind of caliber they prefer for hunting, and there's pros and cons for every different one, but often what it comes down to is for hunters that hunt in the deep bush, they want a bullet that's not going to deflect off branches, because very often the game is going to be partially hidden behind the bush or something like that, and there is often talk about the fact that some bullets will deflect off a branch much easier than other bullets, and some bullets are really good at busting through brush. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a hands-on test right here. I've got a target set off in the bush way down there. I'll mark that on the video where it is. You won't be able to see it with the camera from here. It's so deep in the bush and going through so much bush that I can barely see it myself. So I'm going to be shooting these bullets through some pretty dense thickets here, and that should give a good assessment of what one bullet can do against another. So the firearms that I'm going to use in this test, I'm going to go right from one extreme right to the other. I'm going to start off with a 243 shot out of a Ruger number 1, and these are my hand loads. I'm using 100 grain Game King SBT bullets, so they're both tail bullets, spar point, and they're doing about 2,900 feet per second. So they're zipping along pretty good. And then at the other end of the spectrum, I've got what I call my buffalo rifle. It's actually the custom Ruger number 1, and that's chambered for 45-120. So think 45-70 and just make the case twice as long. That's 45-120. And because of that size, I can hurl a 535 grain cast bullet out of that gun. And cast bullets are actually what I prefer to hunt with. One of the reasons being, besides the question of whether it bucks brush better or not, even aside from that, with a cast bullet going at a slower speed, you can, as they say, eat right up to the hole on the game. It doesn't destroy a lot of flesh. So that 45-120 is going to be doing about 1,600 feet per second. And then I'm going to do a third test with a 30-30. And that rifle again, I'm going to use a cast bullet. It's the Lyman 311041 mold that makes them. And that bullet will be doing 1,960 feet per second. So that is also known as a good bush busting round. So at the end of this, you're going to find out, based at least on my results, which cartridge and caliber works best shooting through bush, if there is any distinction to be made. I'm going to do 5 shots with each rifle. So without any further ado, let's get down, and we'll start off with the Ruger number 1 shooting 243. Let's start off with this 243 pulled in here. It's a Ruger number 1, heavy barrel, and it's shooting a 100 grain spear bow tail bullet at close to about 2,900 feet per second hand loads. So I'm gonna really not target. I'm not seeing the target very exactly. There's not that that's visible, so this isn't going to be like tight groups or anything. Let's try another one here. Okay, let's take a look at what we got here. Now, I took 5 shots at it. I see. Pretty hard to see the target from here. But I got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a 5th one up there. So what I should do is I should circle those with a piece of pencil so I can differentiate them from the other shots. But you know, from the looks of it, these bullets are tumbling like crazy. Masking tape on these holes here. They look very oblong. I'm going to have to look at this more carefully later. Okay, for the next step, we're going to try this. Ruger number 1, chambered for 45-120. So on a 535 grain bullet, that same target. Now you might not be able to see it in the camera, but it's so dim through the bushes. You pick it up and it's leaning over a little bit because of the wind, so it's kind of a flat oblong shape. But good enough, this should do it. You can see it. So let's see if this bullet here can push through that bush better than the 243. Look at that. You see that? Yeah. It's hard for me to see my viewfinder with this sunlight on it. Can you see that? Like, my shots, I was just happy to hit the red, where, you know, the target is bending over and stuff. So those bullets didn't deflect at all. Let's see here. Yeah, there you can see where the green tape is. That's the 243, and those 5 shots there, that's the 45-120. Now that is looking like very strong evidence based on this sample size of the effectiveness of a heavy, slow-moving bullet going through the bush. Quite a difference. In fact, that is enough to make a kill on a deer for sure, or not. It's because in both cases I was aiming at, I think, about the same spot as best as I could tell. So this target is just barely holding out here with this wind. Let's I'll tape this thing up, cover these last holes, and take a shot with a 30-30, see how that thing performs with a cast bullet. Okay, I can't believe it with this wind. My target is still standing upright, and I'm going to take some shots at it now with this 30-30, and that's using 170 grain cast bullets. That's a 311-441 Lyman bullet, going at about 1960 feet per second. It doesn't move real fast, but it brings down game and it works just fine. So I'm going to try 5 shots of this at that target before the wind blows it down. Okay, so that's 5 shots with the 30-30. Let's go check it out. First I gotta find my graph. Okay, let's see what we've got here. It's looking pretty good with that 30-30. Shoot, I think I was able to see the red dot a little better in this instance. The wind might have died down a little bit. So you can see there that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right nice close into the center of that red dot there. So that's actually really good performance. So again, slow moving bullet. It might have tumbled a bit. I can see from the looks of one hole there. I'll take a closer look at it later on. See how many tumbled. Now in the case of the 45-120, that's going 1600 feet per second. So a little slower than the 30-30, but still good performance with that 30-30 going through, and that's really thick underbrush. I'm shooting from slightly different positions each time, so I'm not shooting through the exact same piece of bush in case I'm clearing it with the bullets from the one before. So this is turning out to be quite a good test. I'm impressed with these cast bullets. Okay, how about we take a little closer look at these bullet holes and their placement, just to wrap things up a bit, because it is worthwhile noting a few things here. Now that last group of bullets that are untaped, all 5 are right in the circle there, but you'll notice that that one and that one are very keyholed. So they hit a branch all right, but they kept on going, but just kind of slammed into the target sort of sideways. Now if I was to compare that with that's a 170 grain cast bullet from the 30-30. Now we're going to look at the 535 grain cast bullets. That's a 243. 535 grain cast bullets from the 45-120, and there you can see that one hit a branch too, all right, and it also keyholed, but it still stayed more or less on target. That one also keyholed a bit, hitting a branch. Now I think some of these over on the top left might be my shooting, because I was kind of maybe picking the wrong part of the target. So overall the group size I think is more important, but there again is another keyhole, whereas the 30-30 has got 3, maybe that 4th one is keyholing a bit, and 2 definitely keyholing. Here we got the 45-120, definitely with 3 keyholes of varying severity. This one here is actually not too bad. That's pretty much a straight hole through. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 out of the 5 didn't keyhole, 3 did. 30-30, 2 keyholed, and 3 didn't. Now we look at the 243. Start at the bottom here. Not much keyholing, but it did wound up way off target. That's enough to miss a deer. This one here too might have hit it in the guts. That one up there is really badly keyholed. It just went ricocheting off a branch. And then that guy there also ricocheting off a branch somehow. So we got our 1, 2, 3, but not bad, 4, 5. So pretty wide group of the 243 there. Quite disappointing actually for shooting through bush. You know, really only 2 of those shots were half decent out of the 243 out of 5 shots. So I would say you're much better off going with a heavy or cast bullet, a slower moving one, and weight probably helps, but slower moving. And in the case of the 45-70, the 535 grain bullet is a semi-pointed style. It's a postal style bullet. That is not the most ideal from what I hear for busting through bush. I would like to try this test again someday in the future with a flat point 45 caliber bullet. Now, because if you look at the 30-30, that cast bullet it shoots, the 311041 Lyman, that is got a meplat, a flat surface on the front of it, as all lever actions with magazines have to have, and that may help for getting through the bush. The other thing, you know, as far as explaining this this difference, everybody has their own theories, and I won't say that I'm authority, but my tendency is to think that with a lighter bullet, even going fast, when it hits a bullet, it'll hit the bullet and hit a branch, and it'll kind of, the branch will bend as it hits it, and it'll follow the branch bend as it goes along it, and that'll carry the bullet off target a little bit. So not much mass in the bullet, and maybe a pointy tip is just not good for that. So you know, feel free to come up with your own theories, but in the end I think it's results that matter, and that's exactly why I did this test. So now we've reached the end of this test, and I hope you got something out of this. I found it actually quite interesting that that 30-30 outperformed the 45-120 by a margin. Maybe not much, because it may be that I was using a slightly different point of aim with the 45-120. The group sizes were actually just as good with the 2 rounds. So it just so happened with the 30-30 that they were all in the red zone, but that may be outside the red zone in the case of the other round due to the conditions, because it was really hard to see that red dot, but I was putting all the bullets in about the same spot there at least. As far as the 243 goes, boys, not very good. Like really, that is not that far away that I'm shooting, and if there was a deer standing in that bush and I was shooting at it, I think I would have got maybe, if I was lucky, 2 shots out of 5 would have killed that deer. At least 1 or 2 would have missed him completely, and it would have been a good chance of simply injuring that deer, maybe shooting it through the gut or something like that. So that kind of knowledge should impact on your decision making when it comes to what is an ethical shot and what's not. Because quite often an animal, when it sees you, it will put a little bit of bush in between you and it. I've seen the moose do that a lot. And really with the 30-30 and the 45-120, I just shoot right through it, and we're doing fine. But 243, shooting through bush, it's a pretty iffy affair, I would say. So draw your conclusions that you like from that. If there's a lot of interest in this video, maybe I'll try some more tests of this sort, and we'll carry it on from there. But until then, you know, feel free to contribute your comments and your experience on this subject, because this is not a huge data set that I'm relying on for reaching these conclusions, although I am aware of other people having done similar tests, and this is not, from what I know, this is not really that unexpected, but it's sort of nice to prove it for yourself. And you can do this yourself as well, actually. So I'm going to just end off by saying that if you appreciate this video, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. The subscriber count is going up and up, and it's really making a difference as to whether I can continue doing these things. It's really a thing that I love to do, but I have to be able to devote enough time to do it. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It's easy to do. And there's also a bell icon that you can click, and there's other videos along this subject that are shown in the references on the top corner of the screen. So take a look at what else is going on the channel here. I think I got a good 300 videos up by now on a whole range of topics. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and until we meet next time, God bless from the Wade Native Chronicles.